Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another Supatease video. And in this one, I thought it would be fun to go over all of the covenants in Shadowlands and rank what I would consider the top 5 most powerful when it comes to player versus player. These are the ones that are just outstanding, generally lack a lot of counterplay, and allow you to take control of a PvP situation like no other Covenant ability, which is why they've made this top 5 list. So let's get started here with number 5. And moving into the number 5 spot, one good thing going for shamans right now, it's the Venthyr Covenant, and it is going to be the Venthyr Covenant ability, Chain Harvest in particular. This is basically a red banana beam from hell that burns more denizens down on Azeroth than Sylvanas did at the World Tree. And I'm sorry, it's not too soon for Alliance players. No mercy. Venthyr Shaman is going to be a very potent Covenant ability in Shadowlands for PvP, purely because of its damage output and also its added benefit of providing a little bit of healing. It's on Shadow, so if you're interrupted on this, then you can still cast all of your other rotational abilities, whether you be a Resto Shaman, an Enhancement Shaman, or an Elemental Shaman. So it's all around versatility and amazing output. Puts it in at the number 5 spot. Coming in at number 4, we've got the Venthyr Monk, and this is very similar to the Chain Harvest. It just does an insane amount of damage. You're going to pop the Fallen Order, summon in a giant army of monks to do your bidding, and slightly lag out and annoy your opponents because this thing is massive. There's just tons of things on the screen jumping around, really annoying you. And the main reason that this one is ranked higher than the Chain Harvest, although it's for basically the same reason, is because the current potency of the monk in particular. Windwalker Monk, in my mind, being an S tier melee DPS, adding in this Covenant ability on top of it, unlike something like an Enhancement Shaman with Chain Harvest, really puts it over the top. This is a spell that immediately will knock your target down into Touch of Death range, which has now been reworked into an Execute, so you will just hammer out tons of pressure with this. It's a nice cooldown outside of your Storm, Earth, and Fire window as well, so it synergizes really heavily with the monk in general, and that's going to be our number 4 slot. Moving in at number 3, we've got the Necrolord Death Knight. This is one that is more powerful because of its utility than anything else. This is a 2-minute cooldown Abomination Limb, allowing you to pull targets into you, kind of like you turn yourself into an Ursul's vortex, just sucking targets close to yourself. And this is obviously very powerful in PvP, whether it be battlegrounds or arenas or really any situation, because you can control the positioning of your enemies. You can also run legendaries to get access to 2 death grips instead of just 1 charge of death grip on top of this, so you can pull everything out into the open, and that's going to benefit everybody basically, for your side at least, by allowing your caster friends to free cast and rain down terror on targets while they are unable to escape, and also to just hold targets next to your own cooldowns, because who cares about anybody else? It's all about my damage, right, on the meter. This is going to allow your Chill Streak as Frost to bounce to multiple targets a lot easier. This is going to allow your Abomination and all of your ghoulish army as Unholy to really wreak devastation on the battlefield. This is the number 3 on my top 5 Covenant abilities in PvP. Moving forward, we've got number 2 on the list, and who could not include this one? The Kyrian Marksmanship Hunter, the Resonating Arrow, which received some massive buffs recently. If Marksmanship Hunter wasn't already good enough, this now beefed up Covenant ability is insane. You're going to put a Resonating Arrow in the ground, spawn a circle. All targets that were hit in that circle, you can now hit them through pillars. Yes, you can attack through walls. They've literally put wall hacks in the game and allowed you to have them. Who would have guessed that that's going to be on a top 5 PvP Covenant list right there? On top of marksmanship, just doing insane damage. You can really start to tee off with tons of aim shots, and your opponents won't be able to abuse your downside, which is usually being a stationary, line of sightable, ranged attacker like the marksmanship hunter. So it completely removes the weakness that you had, and then instead turns it into a strength, grant you increased critical strike chance, and you are going to be just bouncing arrows through walls. You can play with sniper shot and battlegrounds to get access to further range, so you can just chill really far in the back line, just going crazy at people with arrows. This is going to be an insane PvP ability, whether it be arena, battlegrounds, dueling. This is one that definitely stood out to me. The downsides of it, though, is that you can see the circle on the ground, right? So you know that the hunter is about to do something. It's very apparent visually, although even though you know they're going to do something, there's not really a lot you can do about it. I mean, you could use a cooldown, try and survive it. We're going to have to wait and see. Obviously, with Shadowlands being delayed, the tuning readjustments, maybe Marksmanship Hunter isn't as powerful as it is currently, but I just wanted to do this list for fun as we're moving through the beta and kind of get your eyes kind of looking at what's standing out in terms of the PvP covenants, and this is one that's definitely up there now after its recent buff. The number one covenant ability, this is one that I see all over social media, everybody complaining about it. It is causing headaches because it has to do with your head. And we're just leaving it a mystery with the drum roll. But this is one that is insane, not only for its effect, but also its damage. And it's a covenant spell going to a class that we haven't seen a lot of it throughout Battle for Azeroth, so it'll be nice to see it return to its former glory here in Shadowlands, the expansion named after it. Number one, the Venthyr Priest and the Covenant's ability Mind Games. With such a short cooldown and just immediate upfront damage, we can think similarly to even Chain Harvest or the Fallen Order from the Monk Covenants. It provides all of that upfront on a significantly lower cooldown, 45-second cooldown, also applying a secondary effect where while Mind Games is on a target, if they do damage to somebody, they're healing them instead. Or if you put Mind Games on a healer and they try and heal someone on their team, they hurt them instead. That is a massive outplay potential here coming from Mind Games, on top of its just flat out insane damage and low cooldown. The only counter to this is to dispel it. And right now, with a lot of the utility that's returning to the game in terms of like curses for warlocks and high synergy like that, I'm not sure if healers are really going to have the time to deal with this. And also, if you're not a healer that can dispel it, then you're just stuck with it. So if you're imagining kind of world PvP or battlegrounds, and you got that annoying warrior chasing you around, you Mind Games them, and then suddenly they're lay on handsing you to full health, and you're like, oh, thank you, I thank you for the heal, Mr. Warrior, and you're gonna be pretty happy about it. So if you're a priest and you're going Venthyr, you're also going to get access to 25% interrupt reduction. Who could ask for something better than that? I mean, you're going to be interrupted less. You're going to be casting this Mind Games out a ton, doing insane damage, insane burst. Right now, Discipline and Shadow are both S tier in terms of healer and damage output. We're not going to talk about Holy Priest, okay? I'm sorry. Let's leave Holy Priest over here for a moment. Let's focus on the ones that are good, okay? That's what we do here on these top 5. Focus on the good ones. And then let's pretend that the Holy Priests just don't exist for a moment here. But this is one that I'm very excited about. And I can tell already on social media that people aren't necessarily excited about. But I think with its potential outplay and the way that it engages you in the game, like, oh, I need to stop attacking. I got Mind Games. Can my healer dispel me? Is there anything else I can do right now, like utility or crowd control? The way that you choose to play around it is a way that really has never been introduced to World of Warcraft, which is likely why people are complaining so much about it. I would say that maybe its direct damage is too high, but the effect itself of trying to like stop attacking or stop healing and try and use something else like utility or crowd control is a very cool mechanic. But at the moment, with how much damage it does, its low cooldown and its effect, there is no doubt in my mind that this is the number one Covenant spell for PvP right now in Shadowlands. So I hope you enjoyed my list here today. If you did, please leave the video with a like. Comment down below with your thoughts on what you think is the best PvP Covenant, as I would love to hear your opinions. Here on the channel, I am just constructing tier lists, reviews, deep dives on basically every single thing to do with Shadowlands to try and provide you information to make the correct decision when it comes to your main, what you want for gameplay, and most importantly, engagement, because I don't want you to pick something that ultimately 2 or 3 months down the road of you playing and grinding and unlocking all of your character's potential, you get bored of. That's the main priority of the channel here. I want it to be about fun, but also taking into consideration competition as well, because if you pick something no one's ever going to invite you to a group for, you're going to want to know that too. That information can all be found here on the channel. I'll have links to my recommended classes. I'll have links to my tier list here as well up above. So again, please subscribe to the channel if that's content that you're interested in. I'm uploading every single day. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.